Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending the Insider Power Hour, July 7th, 2021. I apologize for the late start, had a little bit of camera issues. But so let's just dive right in because I want to talk about something that is kind of new and exciting and kind of reformulated. So I'm really excited to offer this to all my clients. So first, I do have to kind of go through our housekeeping and go over the rules of the Insider Power Hour, especially if you're somebody who's not been here before. And let me just get this up. So today is July 7th. I am Lisa Cernka, nurse practitioner, IFM CP practitioner as well. And today I want to welcome you. This group visit provides an additional opportunity for you to connect with me and my team or any experts that I have presenting on a weekly basis to learn and add information to help you on your health journey. And that's included in your membership. So this is how it typically goes. I won't read all this to you, but the first 30 minutes is our educational part. The recording is then placed in the Solutions Learning Library, which is going live. And then we can do lecture styles, lab reviews, Q&A, and a series of lectures as well. In fact, getting ready to do put together an anti-aging or slow your aging process down for August. So that'll be exciting. This is a closed group discussion in the second half. I don't know why this is not. There we go. The remaining 30 minutes is closed group. It is not recorded. This is where you get a chance to actually interact with the group, interact with me, have that extra time. That's part of the clinical support that you would need. And in some cases, you may have the health coach here as well. So that is exciting. It will be a guided discussion. Participation is optional. And the rules are keep an open mind. Everyone is at a different stage of journey. No one has all the answers, and we are learning, including me. I am always learning. I'm always going to conferences. Some of these topics can be emotional, so we want to be careful and understand that we may elicit some emotion, but that's okay. Please don't think of terms in black and white, but shades of gray. All right, so the housekeeping is done, and let's get into what we are going to be doing today. And we're going to stop the screen share. So this is the test that I'm talking about. It is from Genova Diagnostics, and a lot of you have had Genova testing done of various different kinds, but this is the Nutra-Eval FMB amino acids. This is a functional nutritional assessment as well. And a lot of you have already had these tests done, but in separate formats. What's really nice about this is it brings it all together in one, which is very helpful, but there's some really good learning things in here, because I think for you, for me anyway, it's important that I understand the why behind what we're doing, right? I'd like to know, and that's why you're working with me, is you want to get to the root cause of the symptomology. Now, this can get as deep into the geeky science weeds as you'd like, or it can be very superficial and you can kind of take what's there. Either way, I will meet you where you're at and give you the kind of information and education that you would like. So this is the dashboard, and this dashboard is really nice for me as a clinician, and also for you, because everything's color-coded, numbered. It's fantastic. Understanding what each of these markers in each of these categories is my job. And there's a nice explanation in all of these as well. So we talk about oxidative stress. We know what oxidative stress is and what kind of DNA damage it does. Mitochondrial dysfunction. This is really where the root of chronic fatigue is, the hypometabolic state. Some people present with that, and it can all be reversed. We just need to know how to do it and in what fashion. The omega imbalances, any omega imbalances that there are, drive directly inflammation. And a lot of you come to me with inflammation. The toxic exposure is something that we screen for in the organics acid because we're looking at what your phase 1, phase 2 detoxification is, the bathroom drain. Is it open? Is it draining? And what are the components that are associated with that? But this takes it a step further. We can take it a step further and actually do get toxic element measurements through blood draw. So that's really, really neat too. And then methylation. It's really important. Those of you who have MTHFR, those of you who understand the B12, B9 connection, as well as the B6 connection to running everything, because you have that imbalance, you'll appreciate that as well. So let's get in. This is a sample report, by the way. I don't want anybody to think I'm sharing any kind of information of a client. So the nutritional need overview, this is really nice. It kind of just goes through things quite quickly. And anything in the red is an immediate need, is something that needs to be addressed, rebalanced, and given to you in the appropriate dosage. Really important to understand that. Remember, what's on the bottle isn't necessarily the therapeutic dose. And that's where a certified functional medicine practitioner comes in. So, and you may be aware of, I mean, the B vitamins are so critical in everything that we do, and understanding where they are and the need for them is really important as well. It's super easy for a clinician or you to just kind of look at this and go, oh, okay, this is where I need all of these kinds of things very quickly. Then these are the amino acids per day. These are just recommendations. I don't go into that too much. Then these are the antioxidant needs at a glance. But what I love about this, and I'm going to increase this ever so slightly so that you can see it. Look at this. This is brilliant. Let's go down to the bottom. The function of the nutrient itself is in blue. The cause of the deficiency, the complications of a deficiency, and then the food sources of a nutrient. Now, I have had this discussion with a lot of people. Food sources of a nutrient that is extremely deficient can be difficult to replace with food alone. And we often have to supplement it with therapeutic supplements in order to fill the tank, if you will. And then once it's filled and we've corrected whatever's influencing the deficiency, right? Like here, vitamin C, oral contraceptives, get you off of oral contraceptives, or we deal with diuretics. I apologize for the noise outside. And once we fix those deficiencies, then we can get our food sources, right? Does that make sense? But this is fantastic. You get a score. And then it tells us whether or not you need that need. You know, are you in the red zone? Are you in the green zone? Are you in the caution zone? The other thing that's really neat about this particular test that I really like is when we partner this with the Pure Genomics. So I reviewed that a couple of about a month or so back. So if you haven't seen that, go back to that particular recording in the Solutions School Library. Watch the Pure Genomics because I go through what a Pure Genomics is, how it talks about diet, lifestyle, the things that your body is genetically predispositioned to. Again, genetics doesn't mean we're locked into that, but we can turn those switches off and on, support them. So this is just enough, in my opinion, snack size information to get you on board to understand what we're trying to do. Again, it's my job to understand the real deep down weeds about this. So glutathione is it's the master antioxidant. It's a huge thing that we have to pay attention to. CoQ10 is huge in energy production, and then plant-based antioxidants. So really interesting because we have a lot of people that really like keto plans, the keto diets, the caveman diets, things like that. And when we look at what your pure genomics, what your genetic tendencies are, and we look at what you're testing, do we have a deficiency here? What do we need to do? How do we need to change that? So we can get your energy metabolism, you reduce your oxidative stress, reduce your DNA damage risks, and chronic disease. I mean, look at congestive heart failure, diabetes, neurological disease. This stuff is big, big time. B vitamin needs, again, this is, I think, is really, really helpful for you to understand why I am so insistent upon a methylated B complex when we are talking about your health and how everything is run. And if I can do, if you want, and we can talk about this in the closed group discussion. I can get into a more detailed lecture series on just B vitamins, what they do, why we need them, why they're so important. And then now we get into minerals, magnesium. Almost everybody is deficient of magnesium. And we also know that magnesium, also lack of magnesium, for lack of a better word, does contribute a lot to migraines and headache syndromes. So really important to understand that. We also have to understand zinc is incredibly important. That has been brought to our attention over the last year and a half, 2 years, about COVID, immune deficiency. I am now listening to a podcast, brilliant. It's about slowing the aging process and what are the key factors for people who live to 100 years old and older. And what they're finding is that all of them have a very well functioning immune system. Interesting. Okay, so essential fatty acids. This is really important. The omega-3, omega-6s, and linoleic acid, all of this is, and some of you, we've identified that this is a problem when we're looking at cardiometabolic health, when we're looking at the health of your mitochondria, your cell wall, when we're looking at joint pain, all these things. These guys are really important. And the American diet, standard American diet, or the SAD diet, is very, very high, usually in linoleic acid. Now, we need linoleic acid. We need it, but we don't need high doses of it. And remember, when you and I start working together, we talk about everything needs to be in a ratio, right? It's not necessarily how much are you making, are you in the right ratio? And that's really important to understand. This gives us a really nice glance. Then it gives us a little bit of help with the microbiome and digestive support. Now, we do this on the organic acid as well. And we're going to get into a graph here in a minute, and we're going to understand why that's important. And understanding how we use all of our energy sources, which is food, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, and how we use them and convert them into energy. Understanding that there might be some mitochondrial dysfunction, a need for methylation, toxic exposure, really important. And this is usually the thing that we kind of address at the end, but I'm finding out more and more that in order to have a successful treatment timeline, in other words, to get you to your health goals and feeling better uh, in a reasonable amount of time, we do need to pay attention to toxic exposure and phase 1, phase 2 detoxification. Um, so it's important that we do look at this. A lot of people think that, and I used to too, I'll be very honest, I used to think that toxic exposures were complicated to get rid of, lengthy, expensive, and to some extent, you could say yes to all of those, but when you understand where to look and where to start, then sometimes it's just the simple things that we can do that can turn the ship. And it's not always these complicated processes. So we do want to pay attention to that. Now, this is brilliant. This is that, I love this. I'm going to replace this, I think, in my slide deck. I'm going to bring this down a little bit so you can see it completely. So if you guys remember in my Loom video when we first talked and you got ready to meet with me, I had this entire thing called the Krebs Cycle. This is what this is. And this is how we make energy. This is how we make ATP. It doesn't go all the way to the end. Well, no, it does. It shows the electron transport chain, which is this whole process in how we make ATP and the things that are so critical in making it and things that degrade it, okay, and influence it. What I love about this particular test is it puts your results on this chart. How cool is that, right? So here it is showing that you have this particular person has a high marker here, and there is a need to use the B vitamins, magnesium, and in some cases carnitine to allow us to convert fat into fuel, carbohydrates into fuel, proteins into fuel. So, and you notice, look at this, proteins really don't need a whole lot, right? But we do need digestive enzymes. So this is what I love about this test. And at the end here in the Q&A, or if you haven't been able to go to the closed group discussion, reach out to me. Set up maybe a Q&A appointment where you can talk about this test and would it be reasonable for you to get. And we're going to talk about the turnaround time and the costs that are associated. How do you get this done? So now we get into all of the geeky science weeds of this, this is my job now to go in here and really craft what is best for you. How do we layer this so that we get the most benefit out of all of this? So this is what's really exciting to me. I don't know if it's exciting to you, but this is fatty acid metabolism. Believe it or not, I had to memorize this for my certification exam. Understanding the pro-inflammatory influences, the anti-inflammatory influences, all of this is very important in understanding that. Now we get into the nutrients, right? And we get into the toxic elements. This is this is great. We get into this and we talk about phase. And just let me go back here. There is a lot in here about these markers do have a lot to do with detoxification, understanding which of these markers does support a good open pathway of detoxification. So that is really cool. So moving forward, all of new clients will be getting this test. So this test takes about 14 days turnaround time. And it is also, we can do a lot of add-ons with this test. Let me just stop my screen share just for a second. So this is the page from for the practitioners, but I wanted to let you know that we can add on the whole blood of the toxic elements, the nutrient elements. RBC magnesium is really important, as well as selenium, whole blood, vitamin D, the genomics. If we don't have a 23andMe and we haven't run a pure genomic report, these are just the ones that probably are the most influential to this test, but that we all know that there are more. And then we can add COVID-19 antibody assays to see if you are currently holding immunity, natural immunity from a post-COVID exposure. So really neat stuff. So what's the cost, right? That's always important. I also want to let you all know that I am now using a company called Rupa Health. And Rupa Health, and the reason why I'm doing this is because, hold on, I want to get to my page. Okay, so I'm on the Rupa Health kind of the patient orientation. So what will happen is, look at I have all of these tests available to me in one platform. Now, what I used to have to do is I would have to go to Precision Analytical, then I would have to go to Genova's website, then I would have to go to LabCorp, then I would, I would have to go to all these different websites. I don't have to do that now. I am now registered with all of these companies. So there is more available to you. And then they walk you through the process. I put your order in, you get an email. Within 24 hours, you make a payment. Now, what you have to understand is they offer payment plans. They will assist you in navigating the insurance processing portion for each and every single lab company. You no longer, as an individual, have to contact the lab company. They do it for you. Then they send you all the testing instructions. They get you the kits. They keep letting you know what's going on so that you know where your kit is. I've had a lot of people, and I understand the frustration because, 14-day turnaround time for a lab, and some are even more longer than that. But factoring in shipping times and holidays and things like that, they keep track of that for you, which is fantastic. And then they notify me and when your results are ready. So I don't have to keep going back in and missing a notification, missing something like this. This is very streamlined. They do all of this for you with a very small processing fee, which I believe, if you and I have been through this process before, and we know that there are some frustrations that we've experienced, that this kind of takes away those frustrations. It's a seamless process. Things are going well. You can respond to Rupa Health, and their customer service reps will get back to you same day. I mean, these guys are fast. They're very responsive, and they also monitor their instant messaging. So I think it's a really great option. So the NutrEval cost by itself is $3.99. And then if we do more add-ons, and certainly some of those things will be covered by medical insurance. The other thing I wanted to let you know, which is really very, very helpful, is that Rupa Health, regardless of what lab company it is, if it requires an actual blood draw, like you have to go to the lab, they will tell you, based on your location, the nearest lab that will draw this blood work for you. And those labs will often send the entire kit in for you. You pay a processing fee to that lab if that's the case, usually very small, under $50, and it's all taken care of. So there's no more guessing, like, where do I go to get this done? I mean, I live over here and Lisa's in Swickley, and I don't want to travel through the city, especially now with all the construction going on, and finds the nearest lab for you. It's really for me, I think it's been a game changer. I think you are going to really appreciate the convenience, the clarity, and the consistency that it affords you when we're doing lab testing. I'm so excited that you are all here today. You can watch this video. We're going to go into the closed group now. We can have a discussion about whether or not this is a great follow-up test for you. And certainly if you want to do this test, let me know and we can get things going. Have a good day.